Well, I guess the moral of this story is if you've had an affair or an abortion on your significant other, you probably don't want to spend a night at the Hotel Normandy. Welcome to Happywax TV. So I just finished watching the movie called The Night. It just came out. I saw the trailer for it a few weeks ago. I thought it looked pretty good. And while I will never watch this movie again, I think by the outcome, I was not disappointed with it. I know it's got some stellar reviews, and then it's got some so-so reviews. I think I'm going to fall kind of into the so-so. This movie, I don't know, it's kind of that style of horror film that I don't really care for. And I'll get to that in a minute, but it is a good movie, okay? And there are a lot of people that are going to like this flick. One of the notable things that I didn't know was this was the first the first U.S. commercially invited movie to screen in Iran, which is quite a feat. And it's also first-time director Karoush Ari, I think that's how you say his name. And man, oh man, I'll tell you, for his first big screen debut, this is a good-looking movie. And it was done on a small budget, and it was done using locations that were pretty much just available to them. And it was, I don't know the exact shooting schedule, but I know it was done very quickly too, because they didn't have a lot of time at the places that they were going to shoot at, but you would never know that in this movie. The acting is fantastic. The atmosphere of this movie is fantastic. The uncomfortable feelings in this movie are great, and it's things you don't really notice at first, and then as the movie plays out, you start to notice them more, but it's these subtle little things that he's put in there that are uncomfortable for people. I don't know. And as the movie progresses, you kind of feel it more. Here, let me get into the plot here, and then I'll get back to that. An Iranian couple living in the U.S. become trapped inside a hotel when insidious events force them to face their secrets that have come between them in a night that never ends. Okay, so basically the first act is we learn about our two main characters, which are Babek and Nida. They're husband and wife. They're at a friend's house, for a night of games and dinner and stuff. And then it's late. Babek's been kind of drinking a little bit, and he's got a toothache. They make you, realize that early on that he has a toothache. That's just one of the uncomfortable things that you don't really pay a lot of attention to in the beginning. But, near the end, it kind of plays out. But anyways, and I'll tell you something too. If you watch this movie carefully, it's very, very smartly written. Okay, because the entirety of the movie is told in a game that they're playing at the very beginning of the movie. Now, I don't want to give spoilers, and that's probably going to be a spoiler, but I'm just trying to make a point of there's a lot of things you need to look for that will help you figure out this movie at the end of it. Because, if you do watch this movie and you get to the end, there was a few times where I thought I figured it out, and then the ending, kind of like, oh, wait a minute, that's not what I expected. But then when I thought about it, you understand it more, but you have to pick out these different things. And there's certain characters in this movie that come in and out of the movie quickly when they get to the hotel, and you have to really listen to what they say because it explains the movie to you as well. So, but it's one of these movies where you can't really, half-assly watch it or go to your phone. Like, you know what I mean? It's just everything that they say, from the homeless guy at the front door of the hotel to the outstanding performance by the hotel receptionist played by George Maguire. He is fucking fantastic in this movie. I'll tell you, he's incredible. I want to see him in more movies. And I actually didn't really know who he was until I saw this movie. And he's got that creepiness vibe. And he gives this presentation of his character that he is a lot more than just the hotel receptionist, but I don't want to get into that either because it'll give spoilers. But basically, yeah, so they're at their friend's house, their party. They have a 4-hour drive home, so they decide to stay at this hotel. again, just because, you know, they've been drinking a little bit. They have a little baby, you know, and it needs to sleep, and they're both tired. So the smart play is stay at a hotel, which is what they do. And that's kind of the first act. We get a little character background. Well, actually, we get a lot of character background on this movie, which kind of took me out of it a little tiny bit, because we understand that they're squabbling a lot. They don't really seem like they're getting along. It's one of those marriages where they kind of, it seems like they don't want to be together, but they have to be together, you know, just because of their background and their religion and stuff, if that makes sense. So, you know, and there's always something about movies where I get, you know, you squabbling couples, just, I don't know, it just takes me out of the movie, and it kind of did for a little bit. But once we get into the second act, and that, the thing for me was the first half of the first act and the second half of the third act are great in this movie, okay? Because it's the stuff in the middle that gets a little repetitious and a little long, and I think they may have dragged it out just a little too much. Like this movie is almost an hour and 50 minutes, and God honestly, they easily could have shaved off probably 20 minutes just for pacing. It's I think a lot of people, if they chime in on this review after they've seen the movie, you guys might come back. Some of you might say it all needed to be in there. I just found when I saw, like, at the end of the flick, I thought to myself, okay, the you know, first half of the first act was okay. Like, it explained a lot. If you go back and watch it a second time, it'll actually explain the whole movie for you if you listen carefully. And then the final, like, 10 minutes of this movie are great, okay? It leaves a lot of mystery. You know, a lot of questions are answered, but a lot of questions are unanswered. But it's the midpoint, and I'm thinking they could have easily cut scenes out of this movie that did not need to be in there. Or it's almost like they just extended it and they didn't need to. And that for me, the second, like the meat, the second act in this movie, it could have been trimmed down, I felt. But other than that, I mean, again, this is going to be a movie for everyone. It kind of has those Kubrickian, you know, the Shining kind of an element to it, where there's a lot going on here where one, you know, the husband sees stuff and it's not there. And I thought to a certain point at the end of the third act, beginning of the second, I thought, fuck, please do not let this be one of these movies where he sees everything going on and she sees nothing and thinks that he's fucking crazy and he's trying to explain himself, and they squabble about this for the entirety of the movie. I was shaking my head. I was like, please don't let this turn into one of those movies. But at the halfway point, they both hear the same voice, and that, I was like, okay, I'm fine with this now, because now she's going to see it too, so they're both going to buy into it, and then we'll go from there, which it was. And, you know, it saved it for me, because there was that point there I thought, oh God, please don't turn this into one of those kind of movies, but it didn't. So, yeah, I don't know, man. To give this a rating, I'd probably give it a 6. You know, some people are going to give it a lot more. Again, I don't listen, don't strike me down, okay? I know I am not a huge fan of the movie The Shining, okay? I like the movie, but I didn't love it. You know, and I've watched it only a couple times over the years. I loved Dr. Sleep, but this movie is kind of the same style as The Shining, okay? And again, I don't want to give too many spoilers away. So I just don't care for these type of movies where there's, you know, people seeing stuff and then it's not there, and this misdirection. And you know, I like it when it's done in certain ways, but I didn't hate it, but you know what I mean? It just didn't do it for me in this movie completely. So I still enjoyed it. So, but to give it a rating, probably give it a 6. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never watch this movie again. I will talk about it if you guys want to talk about it online and stuff. Hit me up. I'm curious to see your take on this movie. So I'm going to end this one here. I don't want to get into spoilers because, again, you know, when you get to the very end of this movie, there are going to be a lot of discussion. Well, there already is if you go online, but there's a lot of discussion as to what, you know, this movie meant. I think I understand what happened, and I kind of gave the cat out of the bag with my opening little, you know, segment there. But anyways, give it a watch. It's out now. And if you have seen it, please get back here and let me know what you thought of it. And if you haven't, like I said, go watch it and then come back and give me your thoughts on it. Yeah, and I'll do my best to answer most of your questions anyways, if you have any questions on it. So yeah, I don't know, 6 for me. It's called The Night. Let me know what you guys think, and until next time, stay scared.